Speaking about mom guilt,
Yeah.
how old are your children?
So our son just turned 10 in January, and our daughter is, well, she'll be 5 in July. So is that four and a
Mm.
half? 4.5.
Mm. So how do you, because God, being a number one
Yeah.
takes all of your time.
Sure.
And as a mom of two, I know being a mom takes all of your time. So how do you juggle that? What are you doing? How are you learning to juggle that?
I definitely had to learn as I went. It was excruciating.
Yeah.
And it was shocking. I remember those first few days of, well, let me not say first few days. I'll say like those first few episodes. I would go to my trailer, when I had a moment to do that and cry because I'd be like, oh my goodness, like, when am I going to see my son?
Mm.
And it's like I knew, but actually experiencing it was another thing, right?
Yeah.
And he had just turned 2 when we started shooting. And oh my goodness, like the mornings where he would just cling to me and say, like, Mommy, I don't want you to go. I just want you.
I know.
It was really, really, really difficult. And what I ended up realizing is that I don't even know when I realized this, but I was not going to be able to do all the prep that I wanted, right? Ideally, I have prepped to the nines, like just everything that there is to do, created this rich life and all that. But what I realized working, especially in season 1, when we were working, just 18, 19-hour days, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this because if I'm working 18 hours, when I go home, if I work on what's set for tomorrow, when am I living? When am I a wife? When am I a mother? When? It won't happen unless I give that time wholly to my family. It's all I have. Especially considering Fridays, getting home at, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. All I have is that chunk on Saturday and then half of the chunk on Sunday because I got to get to bed early because I'm up at 4 for it to all start over again. And so I had to make peace with that. And I had to say to myself, if the work suffers, and it will inevitably, but it is a price I am willing to pay because I have to find some kind of balance somewhere. You know? So a lot of times I would learn what we were doing that day in the chair in the morning because
that's what I did. I literally had
the same question.
My husband he would be running dialogue with me while I was holding a baby.
Yes.
And so I could feed the baby. I would walk in the door and he would hand me the baby, like, because he knew, this is your time. Like, you take this time. And then he would, God, he is a godsend. He brings the kids where I am.
Yes.
Because that's what gives right now. And it takes a village to raise children, but having a supportive partner who sees, I don't even know how to say this. He sees the big picture.
Yeah.
The big picture of career, the big picture of family unit. And that is how we support each other. And it's constantly changing. But But I had someone at work running lines with me 100% of my day. When I wasn't working, there was a person, I had a shadow that was like, do you want to run lines right now for tomorrow? I was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
And we would be memorizing the dialogue for tomorrow today.
Yes.
So I could go home and not have to. Because you're right, I had to separate the two fully, and that was very hard.
It was
very hard.
And, like you said too, it's like there's all these other things that you can do logistically. Like, I we decided that we would always travel as a family. It's like so we split our time between, first it was Atlanta and LA, and then it was Toronto and LA. But the family was going to stay intact no matter what. We were going to make sure that we were always together. And the fact that my husband, like yours, saw that big picture and knew how important it was, and did everything that he could to lead his family, keep his family glued together. And then I'm so grateful for Discovery for this, but I had a whole other room set up for my son, right? With toys and all this stuff, so that, he could come. And then I also had my sister. My sister was our live-in nanny for 4 years. Wow. And so she was like a proxy mother for them.
Love it.
And I'm so great. Like you said, it takes a village. I'm so grateful for her, even though there was tons of mom guilt between me and her, because I would come home and, it would be I would be so grateful for her, but then I would also be so jealous at everything she had witnessed that day that I did not. And then by season 3, I was pregnant with my daughter. And so then when there were 2, my goodness, and I'm pumping at work. I was pregnant all throughout season 5 of Walking Dead with my son. And then I was, I think I was around 8 months when we wrapped season 5. And then I was breastfeeding all through season 6. And, with all my stuff and equipment, like on location in the woods, and like,
oh my God.
I remember one time we were shooting at a quarry on Walking Dead in season 6, and I was pumping at my chair, but there was dust everywhere. And when I had like the bottle, I was just like, bless it, Lord. I don't know.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Here you go. It's just a little dust. It's okay.
Fine. And so same season 4 of Discovery, I'm like, how long do we have between setups? Is it 10 minutes or is it 15 minutes? I really need to know. Do you know, like, okay, then I gotta go pump, and it is really difficult. As you were saying, it's really, really difficult. But what's funny, and I wonder if this is the same for you too, but if I were to ask my son, I feel like I've done this, he does not remember it.
No.
At this point.
No. The crazy thing about this, and we learned this through our daughter's health struggles, children lack the ability to remember until they're 3.
Yeah.
And then they start forming memories. Yeah. Now, is someone going to say, I remember something before 3? Sure. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will in the comments.
Yeah.
But you actually don't, the brain doesn't have the ability to remember before 3. So, in our context, we were like, if this is over before she's 3, she won't remember any of it. Exactly. God, that would be amazing. But that is the same thing. My mother-in-law said to me when I felt so guilty. I was back at work within days of her joining our family. Yeah. Now I didn't carry, so very different circumstances, and we've talked about this, but I had so much guilt, and at one point I was just standing there like shake sobbing. Because I was like, I wanted this baby so much.
Yeah.
and I'm not home. Like, what did I have this baby for? And she literally said to me, she won't remember you're not here. She will never remember it. You will. So you need to change your frame of mind. You'll remember it. And I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And I just think that that's profound and such a blessing that I'm just so grateful for. And I feel like in making the time that I did have with them, and I know this was the same with you, it took everything out of me, obviously, but I packed it, like with just so much quality. It was like we were doing everything together. I was coming up with all kinds of interesting, creative, and fun things that we could do together in those like few hours I had over the weekends, and in those like as the call time would shift later and later. Over the course of the week, I would sacrifice my sleep to be able to be up with them and get them see them off to school or get them to school and all of that. And I think that when it's quality time, they remember it.
They remember the love.
They remember it. They do. They remember
being supported. Yes. 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 I love that. I love that. I love talking to other working moms because it makes me go, okay, all right. It's okay. You got this, mama. It's okay.
Exactly. Not to mention the other stuff that you always hear people saying, which is like it's important for them to see you, operating in your gifts. It's important for them to see you operating in your calling. We tell our kids all the time, like, we believe this is what we've been called to do. And, we communicate our joy about it. We communicate the sense of duty that we feel to it because my husband's an actor as well. And we're like, this is really important work that God has us doing, and we love it, and we want to serve, and we communicate that now, especially now that our son can really grasp that. And I think that's a part of it too, where it's almost like, hey, you're a part of this. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for supporting, mommy and daddy, as they go out. And then there is a sense of what I'm hoping is that he gets a sense of ownership in it too,